What is up, ladies and gentlebots? This is Anthony from VR365 Live. What is going on? I believe we are now up to episode 27 of the show. What is the latest, bro? So I gotta tell you that right now it says my stream status is kind of not very good. So hopefully the stream is halfway decent. I don't know. I guess we'll find out as we move along. And the other thing that I wanted to say at the beginning of today's episode is that I'm not ready. I'm not ready to do this episode right now. I probably need about a half an hour of additional time to get ready for this episode, but I don't have a half an hour. So what I'm going to do is this is going to be kind of an experiment from the standpoint that I'm going to just try to do the show and just hope for the best. And if I have to like grab a trailer or look something up or do something like that, I'm just going to do it live on the show. So it's going to be kind of similar to, man, what's that guy's name? The guy for Monochrome Incorporated, you know, Contagion, Victor Burgos, right? Victor Burgos, he will do these streams where he's actually working on programming for Contagion VR Outbreak, like programming the actual game while doing a stream and talking to people occasionally as he continues to program the game. It might be a little bit like that today, honestly, but you know what? We'll try to make the best of it. The other option would be that I just tweet out that, oh, the show is going to start at 12 noon today instead of 11 a.m., but I don't really want to do that. And you might also be thinking, well, Anthony, dude, get your ish together. You know that you're going to have a show today at 11 a.m. Pacific. Why don't you have things together? And the truth is, I don't have a legitimate excuse. I have excuses I can go to, like I had to drive my kid to school and it completely, for some crazy ass reason, completely forgot that I got to drive my kid to school. I had to iron this shirt here, which was wrinkled as hell. I had to jump in the shower. I had to go get my kids some breakfast a little bit earlier today. Just a lot of little things. And it ultimately, yeah, Econhawk says the shiitake VR show. Shiitake mushrooms, one of my favorites. It is a whole bunch of shiitake. And so anyway, what we are going to get into today is we are going to get back into Game of the Year discussion. We're now in the month of December, and we've barely scratched it, you know, and I don't even need to say the end of that, do I? We've barely scratched it from a standpoint of we have covered January, February, March, and most recently April, but we haven't got into May. And I did mention that May was going to be a banger of a month in terms of big VR releases that came out in the month of May. And we're probably going to need 2 episodes to get through the games of May. And so we're going to kind of do a bunch of that today. And then once we kind of exhaust that and wear that out, then we'll go ahead and check out the latest news. So we'll go ahead and check out some of the websites, which I have not looked at anything. The only thing that I saw today, I do know that there is a new graphics card that Nvidia has popped out, or it's going to be coming out in the near future. It's the Titan RTX. They're calling it the T-Rex. The T-Rex, which is going to retail for about $2,600, somewhere in that kind of a range for this T-Rex card. Now, honestly, it's not meant for gamers. It's not meant for regular consumers. It's meant for AI constructs, okay? It's meant for the government. It's meant for the CIA, the NSA. It's meant for Google and Microsoft and Facebook and anybody else that is trying to take over the world with deep learning algorithms. Cypher. Remember that game Scraper? It's basically for Cypher, that robot in Scraper. That is what the Titan RTX is for. It's not for us regular Joe Schmoes out there that are trying to do regular VR gaming, although our boy MameFan, let's talk about our boy MameFan. Not only was he willing to break out 3,200 smackaronis for the Star VR1 headset. Like, he was really down for that, applied for it, tried to get into the developer deal so that he could possibly get himself a Star VR1 headset. And he also mentioned, I was looking at the Titan RTX thread that was on the Vive subreddit, and MainFan was in there. MainFan was one of the first people in there talking about how he would actually almost be willing to buy one of those if he really thought that it would have a 100% improvement over the 2080 Ti. But everything that I've looked at in regards to this Titan RTX is the improvement would be maybe 20% on a good day over the RTX 2080 Ti. So this is really much ado about nothing. We should not concern ourselves with the Titan RTX unless you literally have money to burn and you just have so much money, it is just coming out of every orifice and you just want to light it on fire. Similar to the Joker in Dark Knight, you just want to see it burn. If that's the case, then grab yourself a Titan RTX. But for the rest of us living in the real world, those of us that are not AI constructs, we're going to go ahead and be happy with what we have right now. Maybe get a 2080 Ti, maybe get a 2080, a 2070, or whatever there is out there. Or maybe just slum it a little bit with our 1080 Ti's. That's what I'm doing. I am slumming it a little bit with the 2080 Ti. Okay, so before we get into our game of the year discussion and we get into May, one of the things that I like to do is I like to cover the previous month, kind of do a quick little recap on what we have going on so far. So let me go ahead and grab a recap here. Let me see if I can find it. I did actually render this like 5 minutes before the show started, so it's just a little graphic here, nothing special. But let's go ahead and take a look at our games of the month so far. Actually, wait, first, let's look at the best VR games of April 2018. Let's take a quick look at that. And so you guys might remember, this is it here, best VR games of April 2018. We really only had two different qualifiers. We have Time Carnage, which arrived on April 10th, and we have Rolling Line, which arrived on April 27th. And I'm not absolutely 100% positive on April 27th, but that's what I remember. Does anybody remember in The Lion King when Mufasa said, "Remember who you are, Simba"? So that is what I remember. I remember April 27th. Might be inaccurate. Absolutely, potentially could be inaccurate, but I think it's April 27th. But these are the two games, Time Carnage, Rolling Line. Now, also, you guys might remember that I've played Time Carnage, and I am an advocate of Time Carnage. I think it's one of the more underrated VR games we have, period. And if I did a special on the top 20 most underrated VR games, Time Carnage would be in the mix. It would be in the mix with stuff like Cyberpunk VR. That would be in the mix. Let's see, Cyberpunk VR. What else is super? Vindicta, super underrated as well. I would come up with a whole entire group of underrated VR games, and Time Carnage would be one of them. Now you might remember I didn't play Rolling Line. I didn't have a basis for Rolling Line. I didn't have a take on Rolling Line. Well, if you saw the thumbnail image for today's episode, Rolling Line was the background image. And guess what? Our boy Paradise Decay, God bless his soul, he got in contact with somebody at Gauge Punk Games and was able to secure me a review code for Rolling Line VR. And so I actually got into Rolling Line VR last night, so I actually have some thoughts on that. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and recap so far what are the best games of the month in those first 4 months that we've covered so far. So let me go ahead and switch over to that one. Just a minute here, folks, and we will grab that. I also rendered this 2 minutes before we started here. Okay, so this is best VR games of... Oh, no, wait. I did this one already. I did this one. Okay, that's the one that we already had. Let's get the other one. Finding the other one. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is the other one. So this is Best VR Games of the Month for 2018. And as you can see there at the bottom, Rolling Line. Yes, Rolling Line grabs it for April. I thought for sure Time Carnage would be my pick. But after jumping into Rolling Line last night, I have changed my opinion, and now I'm going to go ahead and go with Rolling Line. Although, you know what? It was a bit of a roller coaster ride. So we're going to get into Rolling Line in just a second, but just recapping here, January, of course, is Primordian. February is In Death. March is Wipeout VR, and April is a Rolling Line. Those are the best VR games of the month for those first 4 months. That is what is going on. Okay, so now might as well talk a little bit about Rolling Line, right? So let me go ahead and grab the Rolling Line trailer, since that is the topic du jour. And so, yeah, there is this game, Rolling Line. Like I said, I heard about it. I heard that it was pretty good. I know people have good impressions of this game, Rolling Line, but I personally did not have my own take on the game. But thanks to Paradise Decay, I got in there last night and I checked it out. And you know what? It was a bit of a roller coaster ride, because when I first got into this game, mind was blown. My mind was literally blown. I was screwing around in this game, and I was just marveling at the brilliance that was being displayed in front of me. And what do I mean by this? Well, what I mean is, you can see this here in the video. You can get first person, close up and personal with these trains and with these environments, or you can back out and you can look over the world as a god would look over the world, or basically like you're playing with model trains. Like you have this garage similar to this, which used to be a 3-car garage, and you had a big giant ass table in your garage, and you made your own model train setup. And this is something that a lot of people do. It's probably not as popular as it was back in ye good old days, but I'm sure a lot of us have grandfathers or fathers that were really into model trains and building model trains. And it's a cool thing, because you have this big giant table, you make these little tiny trees and bushes, and you have your fake grass, and you have bridges, and you have little people, you have a little tiny town, and then you have your train that kind of goes along. And it's remote controlled, it's a powered train, you drive your train around, and it's a very fun thing to do back in ye old times. Now, again, like, people aren't into this as much as they used to be, because we are in the era of computers, and we're in the era of Fortnite, okay? We are in the era of Minecraft, and it's hard to pry little kids away from that and take them out into the woodshed and show them a train table where you're assembling trains and doing that with old Grandpa Joe. But Rolling Line is one of these trips to nostalgic memories like that. And you do have these two different perspectives, where you're looking at it from this external view, you're building your trains, or you're just kind of messing around with the trains that are already there, or you can teleport in there and get on the physical train yourself. Also, there are a number of different courses, a number of different tracks, and then as you can see here, you can start off with a blank canvas and you can make your own freaking train track. And so I was talking for a second there about basically having a bit of mixed reviews on this, or mixed impressions of this game, kind of going through a honeymoon period with this game for like 15 minutes, and then coming out of the honeymoon period 15 minutes later and wondering, wait a minute, how much do I really like this game? Because when I first got in this, I was like, oh my God, this is freaking incredible. This is amazing. This is like sensational. How have I not played this before? How have I not known about this before? Because I was just marveling at the ability. You get your train up and running, you set up a train, and then you can teleport right physically into the train, and you're actually driving your train around, and you can stick your head out of the window and kind of look at it as it's chugging along. And the graphics are very simplistic, but they're colorful, they're bright, they're cheerful, there's some nice music that's playing in the background, and you have these different environments and all of that. And I was like, mind is blown. In fact, if you guys go to our Discord server, I jumped jumped on there at some point last night, and I was like, it's over, man. Rolling Line is way the hell better than Time Carnage. This is game of the month for April 2018. And so I was really hyped on it. I Am Ruts can remember this because he saw this thread, he saw this post that I made in the Discord server, and he's like, oh no, really, Anthony, are you telling me that I gotta buy this immediately, Rolling Line? And so then I went back in and I played it some more, and then after coming out of it, I thought to myself, and I thought, you know what, I don't know if I would go back into this a lot. Like, I mean, it's so freaking cool, it's such a great idea, but at the end of the day, what am I really doing? It's kind of like a playground set. You know, it's kind of like model trains and stuff, but is there like an objective? Like, there's no zombies. Like, where are the freaking zombies? There's no first-person shooter. Where's my sniper rifle? There's no ghouls and goblins. You know, what am I supposed to do in this game? Just build model trains and just look at them and be like, gee whiz. And you know what? That was all I needed for that first 15 minutes. The other thing I'll say is this game is $17. It's not $34.99. It's not 40 bucks. It's $17. And I didn't pay anything for this. You know, I got a code that was given to me. Much love to Gage Punk Games, and much love to Paradise for thinking about me and trying to get me this code and all of that. But if I paid $17 for this, I think I would be happy with what I have. And there's going to be other people that will go back into this over and over again, and you'll make your own track, and you'll make your own city, and you'll make a snow area, and you'll activate the rain. And there's certain parts of this where there's like an ocean and there's boats, and you can teleport onto the boat. You can teleport onto the little sailboats and onto the big cruise boat. You can teleport down into the little city where there's a gas station, and you teleport really close to the gas station, and you might hear some noises of the gas station, and it's all super cool. But at the same time, I could also see somebody having this, and then a couple days later, they're like, that's kind of fun, but I don't think I'm ever going to go back into it again. So I understand both sides of the coin, but I'm still going to give this game of the month for April 2018 from the simple standpoint that Time Carnage is a bit on the basic side. So that's kind of my thought there. Now, let me go ahead. I've been yapping my ass off here. Let me go ahead and bounce back over to chat and see what some people are talking about in chat. And, you know, there's a little bit of talk about that Nvidia, the Titan RTX. Paradise Decay checking in does say the Titan RTX is cheaper than Star VR's headset. It sure is, and if MainFan bought both of those puppies, that's like $6 grand, or 6 gur, as Jim Rome likes to refer to it. Hussein X is checking in. MainFan is here, and he's saying Star VR only if it would work with Steam VR games. And Econhawk says, but is it going to crash like the other RTXs? That's the thing. We've heard a lot of horror stories about these other RTXs, which reminds me, Steve Bishop, I know Steve bought like an open box 2080 Ti. I don't know if it ever actually worked out. I don't know if he received it. He didn't talk about it yesterday on our VR Roundtable episode. Not sure what's going on with that. I imagine he's gotten it by now. And then, of course, I imagine Steve was a bit disappointed and a bit depressed when there was a point in time where you could get a brand new RTX 2080 Ti. I forget which one it was, but it was on sale for $999.99. So he could have actually gotten a brand new one. He got an open box one, I think from a Micro Center or something like that. Angel is checking in. I don't know that I've seen Angel in chat, but I could use an Angel over my shoulder right now. Angel says, we'll see good and or true next-gen GPUs with 7 nanometers. Yeah, that's part of the reason, like AMD, like I went with a Ryzen. In fact, here is my Ryzen box right here. And yeah, this has arrived courtesy of Amazon, that Black Friday deal. What was it? $269.99 plus tax. This is my 2700X. I don't have my motherboard yet. I don't have my RAM yet. And I'm also going to buy a case, because what I've decided to do, see, I have an existing computer tower, and I figure I might as well put that one back together in the way that it was with my 970, get myself a new case and basically have this brand new computer that I assembled together. So I am going to be doing that hopefully this month. And my hope is, in regards to the motherboard, make sure that I get a motherboard that will be forwards compatible with these new 7 nanometer CPUs that are going to be coming. Well, actually, you know what? Angel's talking about GPUs, so I'm not even talking about the right thing. I'm completely off the mark here. This will happen. Paradise Decay says, at VR365, which I believe is me. He says, Anthony, you have a 1080 now. Have you noticed a big difference in VR? I don't think you've ever said anything about it. I haven't noticed a huge difference in a lot of things. Some things tend to work a bit better, but the thing that we got to remember, Paradise and everybody else, is I'm still rocking that old i5 2500K. I'm overclocking it, but everything is ancient. We're talking ancient memory, ancient motherboard, an ancient CPU from spring 2011, and I feel like I can't give a legitimate take on the 1080 Ti difference. I've noticed some games do perform a wee bit better, but it isn't a night and day kind of thing so far. But I feel like when I have my new like, I don't even know if my 1080 Ti is operating to its full capabilities on that old ass motherboard. Like, something could be limiting it, holding it back. I don't even know, you know what I mean? And the memory and all of that. So I feel like once I get my Ryzen in there, once I have a brand new motherboard, brand new memory, everything is, you know, circa 2018, that's when I think I'll start noticing the benefits of that 1080 Ti. So haven't noticed a ton of it yet there. John Edwards is checking in. Tekasura. I'm supposed to have Tekasura on a show as a guest. We still haven't done that. I got to figure out my whole guest thing. That is still kind of floating out there. And Fluke says, so does Rolling Line have any objectives, challenges, etc., or is it basically just a train set? Well, that's a good question, Fluke, and honestly, I don't know the true answer to that. From what I've seen, it's basically just a train set, but a damn good one at that, and a damn entertaining one. But yeah, if there's no objective, if there's no challenge, if there's no zombies, if there's no sniper rifles, then is it enough to truly entertain us? Unless you happen to be a true model train kind of a nerd type, that, you know, you're really into model trains, then this would be your jam to the 10th degree. But if you're kind of just somebody that has marginal interest in this type of thing, I don't know. That's a good question, Fluke, and I don't really know the answer to that yet, but maybe Paradise does. Let's see. And so MS Khan is asking Paradise, were you into model trains as a kid? And Paradise says, my father was. I used to watch him. I was more into Airfix models, etc. Okay, so yeah, Paradise does have a little bit of a thought on that. And Jared O'Hara says, chat looks like it's running slow, or is it just me? No, there might be some problems. Well, now it's saying my stream is good, but I was having some issues a little bit earlier there. And Gerard O'Hara says, my father-in-law has a room dedicated to his trains. This would blow his mind. Yeah, there are people out there that really are into their model trains, and this is a big deal. They really love it. And Jim Hall says he's also going Team Red. He ordered it already. Yeah, I am all in on Team Red. I'm getting rid of my 1080 Ti. No, hell no. Hell no. T-Dub says, are you super sampling, Anthony? No, not really. I was meaning to look into the Oculus tool tray and all of that. I was really going to look into that and start doing some super sampling, but then I just got this Ryzen and I thought, well, maybe I'll just wait until I have my thing properly built the right way and then do some super sampling. So that's kind of the thought process there. But going back to Rolling Line, I mean, ultimately, I still am rating this as Game of the Month for April 2018, but it's a crappy month. It's a craptacular month because I don't count Skyrim VR. I'm not going to count Skyrim VR because it was in the running for VR Game of the Year last year. How can you be in the running for VR Game of the Year 2 years in a row? I know that there are so many people on the Vive subreddit and the Oculus subreddit where Skyrim is their game of the year, all the mods and everything. Arrowin X, my good buddy Arrowin X, that's his game of the year. He's got like 500 mods running simultaneously in Skyrim VR, and I understand all of that, but at the same time, OCD, man. I have some OCD issues and things need to be in their proper places. And Skyrim VR as an entity, that was filed under VR Games of 2017. It was on PlayStation VR, and I can't get it past my OCD brain to have that also be viable for this year's category. So we're not counting Skyrim, and because of that, April Craptacular, Time Carnage, and Rolling Line are the only 2 games I really like from that month. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and get into the month of May? And let's talk about it, but like I said, we're not going to cover the entire month of May on this episode because there's a lot of games in the month of May. But what happened on the first of the month? It was a very big game, and I don't have my trailers lined up, so I'm actually going to have to look for this trailer real quick, but it shouldn't be too hard. It should not be too hard. And so what is the game that arrived on May 1st? And it, of course, is Beat Saber. It arrived from a company called Hyperbolic Magnetism. Yes, Hyperbolic Magnetism was the developer. That's 5 syllables. Hyperbolic no, it's even more. Well, hyperbolic magnet. It's like 5, 6, 7 syllables or something like that, right? So they changed their name to Beat Games because Beat Games. Bam, it's a lot faster, it's a lot easier to say. So now it is Beat Games. They dropped it on May 1st. Could this be the VR game of the year? It absolutely could. In fact, honestly, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised, not the least bit surprised, to see this game win the VR category at the Game Awards 2018, which I believe is this Thursday. Is it this Thursday with Jeff Keighley? The Game Awards show, this could win it. It absolutely could, and it wouldn't be a travesty by any stretch of the imagination. You guys remember what I've said about this game. This game caused waterworks. I actually had tears coming out of the corner of my eye. Now, it wasn't like, boo-hoo-hoo, I can't believe it. It wasn't like that. It was like, oh my God, this is so freaking good. This is so freaking good. Oh my God, I'm getting like tickling sensations down my arms and like electrical feelings because they freaking nailed it, man. They nailed it to the nth degree, and it was just a marvelous thing. It's kind of like, have you ever been watching the Olympics? Okay, you're watching the Olympics and you see some athlete that freaking just balls out of control and they just have an incredible performance. Like, what's that guy that smokes a little bit of weed, but he's a really good swimmer? Phelps, right? Phelps, okay? So, he might hit a bong every now and then, but he is a damn good swimmer. But like, you're watching the Olympics and he does some kind of amazing performance and you have like a tear come out of your eye because you're just like, it's like the electricity of it, man. And that's what it was with Beat Saber for me. The very first time I got in it, I played that song. It was Escape. And there was something about that song, something about me playing it, something about the visuals, something about the entire experience. It was absolutely magical, and I can still jump into Beat Saber today, and I can put that song on today, and it might not actually cause waterworks, but what it would, I would still get that feeling. I'll still get a little bit of that butterflies and that electricity running up my shoulder kind of a feeling. I'll still get that playing Beat Saber even to this day. It is butter smooth, it's magical, and it arrived on May 1st. So that is Beat Saber. It is definitely in the mix, and it's definitely in the running for possibly winning Game of the Month for May 2018. It absolutely could possibly win that. There's no question about it. Okay, let me bounce back over to chat real quick, though, because I don't want to move along too far in case there's some more information in chat. So we have Gamer Casual checking in. This is becoming a familiar sight. Gamer Casual checking in quite a bit. Hey, how goes your day? Sorry, I'm a little bit late. Well, you know what? I'm late too, Gamer Casual. I really needed another half an hour to get this show under wraps, but we're just going to bang the damn thing out anyway. And Dr. Freeman is talking about a great tool for viewing player numbers in real time. Not sure what that is about. Angel says, I'm waiting for AMD 3000 series to upgrade from my current 1600X because that's going to be insane. And Scion, he went Team Red with an Asus motherboard, and it has been a disaster. Oh, no. Yes, there are horror stories when you go Team Red as well. And Skyrim is running for Game of the Year from 2011 with all the different versions. That is IPCSK. Yeah, and Steve Bishop has checked into the building as well. Let me scroll back and see if I can find Steve. Okay, so here's Steve Bishop. He's saying my 2080 Ti is the bin chipset, better than the 999 one. Not bummed at all, especially since EVGA registers it as new. Okay, so Steve Bishop, he does not like to have buyer's remorse, and he's convincing himself he doesn't have it. No, I'm just kidding. No, he's good. He's all good. It's all good. There's no need to worry about that. But anyway, so yeah, I was trying to see what else we got going on here. Oh, King Hell says he prefers the original name. I think he's talking about the developer name of Hyperbolic Magnetism, and instead of Beat Games. And IPCSK says Tears of Joy. I had them the first time in VR on Oculus First Contact. Yeah, you want to talk about something that will cause those butterflies and that electricity to run through your arm. If you've never tried VR ever before and you put on an Oculus Rift for the first time and you try First Contact, that will do it. And Scion VR said the same thing happened to me with Lone Echo, and Phil Yarn is also checking in. Okay, so we are caught up on chat. Okay, now I need to find my next game of the month of May, and let me see if I can find this trailer. It might take a second here, so bear with me here. Let's see if I can find it, because I just used this trailer the other day for something else, so I might have moved it somewhere, so that could be problematic. Hold on a second. So let me go into my regular folder there. I don't believe it is there. Let me go into this other folder. Looking. And, not finding it yet. Okay, so what I'm going to do, hold on a sec. I'm going to do a quick search, a computer search. This is what I'm talking about, though, of not being prepared. Oh, man, I'm not finding it anywhere on my computer. I think I freaking deleted it. That's terrible. Or no, actually, you know what? I have the trailer on another computer. Okay, well, you know what I could do is another way to do this. Another way to do this is I can go to my web browser here, pop this up, and we can just go ahead and go to the Steam page of this game, and we can talk about it in that way rather than having the trailer running on the screen. And so the next game of the month is Rush. This is the next game of May that I wanted to talk about here. Now, the thing is, if you look at Rush on here, it says July 13th because this originally hit the Oculus Store on May 10th. It was a temporary exclusive on the Oculus Store. Then later, it came to Steam, and then it's also could possibly hit PlayStation VR this month. Might make it out before 2019, but this is Rush. So Rush is the next game that we wanted to bring up here as a possible game of the month for May, arriving on May 10th for the Oculus Rift. That is the next one, and Paradise Decay is a big fan of this. I know there's a lot of other people that are big fans of this. This was a game that I was not tracking very well, but people kept mentioning this game. People kept talking about this game. You would hear about it on the Oculus subreddit. You'd hear about it different places. People really like the Oculus Go version of this as well. And so Rush is a pretty popular game. Are you ready for the ultimate thrill ride? Take a dive into the adrenaline-pumping world of wingsuit flying with Rush. You soar down mountainsides at breakneck blah, 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 blah. You soar down mountainsides at breakneck speeds. You weave through cannons, dodge outcrops, and plummet down sheer drops as you race towards the finish line. I'm curious, anybody that has played this and maybe you have a fear of heights in real life, did this trigger any kind of a Did you get that feeling in your stomach like, oh shit, you know, as you're starting to fly downwards? Did you get that feeling at all? I do have a bit of a fear of heights. I mean, well, I definitely do. I have a straight up legitimate fear of heights in real life. You will not see me standing on the edge of a roof that is even 4 stories high. You won't see me do that. I am a little bit of a girly man when it comes to that aspect, and I do have a bit of a fear of heights, but in VR it hasn't really affected me too much. Every once in a blue moon I will be standing up on some kind of a ledge, and maybe if I'm like manipulating a bunch of things and I'm not really paying attention to anything, and then all of a sudden I look and I'm like, oh shit, I'm way up high on a cliff or something, then that's when it might hit me. But a lot of times it doesn't hit me. But I'm curious, those of you guys that have played Rush, did you get any kind of a fear of heights at all? Is it kind of like a racing game? This is one I haven't played. So Paradise, I guess you're going to have to find me a key for this. You're going to have to contact the binary mill, and you're going to have to get me a key for Rush, because I've never played Rush. So I don't have a first-hand opinion on this game. But it is one of our games of May. Okay, now the next game I have in the month of May, I do believe I have a trailer for this. So we're going to switch back over here to our regular scene, and I'm going to try to grab a trailer for this next game. I'm pretty sure I have a trailer. It would very much surprise me if I don't have a trailer. Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, I do have the trailer. Okay, so the next game for the month of May is Compound. And yeah, this is kind of this indie game, retro style game. The developer of this game is Bevan McKechnie. Originally went by the name of Not Dead on itch.io, but his name is Bevan McKechnie. He was working on this game in his spare time, had a regular normal day job and everything. And I believe this guy Bevan McKechnie, I think he was occasionally on NeoGAF and stuff, and he'd be like, yeah, you know, I'm working on this game, but I'm just kind of doing it in my spare time. And then at a certain point, he actually quit. He quit his day job to work on this 100%. And you know, it's funny because I have not played the full version of this game either, although there is a really good demo, and almost everybody has played the demo for this, and I really loved the demo for this. I kind of fell in love with the demo for this. I always talk about the Sega 32X. Whenever I'm looking at Compound, for some reason, Sega 32X, especially up there, see on the walls, see how that, like, see the pixelization up there where it's kind of brownish? Something about that just screams Sega 32X to me. I don't know, this whole thing, it looks like a game that should be on the Sega 32X. Like if the Sega 32X had a VR headset, this would be the launch title, Compound. And this arrived on May 15th. And we can also go ahead and check out the Steam page for this. So I'm going to go ahead and switch back over here to this page. And let's check out the Steam page for Compound. It's been a while since I've taken a look at it. So Compound, it's interesting. This game has been, so reviews. Recent reviews, very positive. 24 recent reviews that are very positive. 181 reviews, grand total, very positive. You can see this arrived on May 15th, Bevan McKechnie, $20. Now, to the best of my knowledge, guys, this has never gone on sale, has it? Has it ever? Or maybe like 10% or 20% or 15%, but there's never been a considerable discount on this, because if this dropped to $10, like if it was 50% off, I would grab it in a New York minute, but I haven't seen this one on sale. But yeah, in chat, let me pop up my chat again. Let me see where it is here. Main Fan says Compound Dev keeps adding more maps, weapons, and enemies. So the Compound Dev is kind of banging his head. He's banging away a little bit. And Main Fan thinks I'm thinking of Metalhead on the 32X. Yeah, it actually does kind of have that Metalhead look, and some of the textures and stuff in the backgrounds and some of that. But, you know, going back over here to this Compound page, you can see here, new executive map theme and revamped city. Let's see if we can click on this. Yeah, here's some new, ooh, that looks cool. You want to talk about Metalhead, there's Metalhead right there for you, Main Fan. You could practically see the mech walking down the streets. That is definitely 32x. Love that. Yeah, I don't know. I love the retro vibe of this. I was just kind of disappointed. See, here's the demo. You can download the demo for this, and I highly recommend it. If you guys have not played the demo for this, what the hell are you doing? Play the demo. The demo is fun. I just don't know. See, my hesitance in buying this full game is when it first came out, I just felt like there wasn't that much more than the demo. There was some more than a demo, but I felt it was kind of like Racket NX, where it was kind of one of these things where they almost gave away too much of the sugar in that demo. You know, why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free? And so you were kind of getting the milk for free with the demo. Why buy the cow, especially when the cow costs $19.99? Now, if the cow costs $10, it's a little bit of a different story. So I've never played the full version of Compound, but it definitely deserves to be mentioned here as one of the games of the month of May. And I do feel like it is one of the games of the month of May. And it probably is a really fun, happy-go-lucky kind of a time in this game. It's just a matter of having more different levels, different music, different environments, different enemies, and it appears that Bevan McKechnie is doing all of that. Okay, so what else can we go to? Looking at the month of May, let's go to the next one. And let me see if you know what, I probably do not have a trailer for this one. But you know what I said? I actually said that we can kind of do this show live, where I'm kind of like working on this show as I'm doing it. So you know what I'm going to do, folks? I'm going to see if I can grab a trailer right now while we are still in the mix for this game, because I don't believe I have a trailer for this. So let me go ahead and see if I can grab this one. Here's another one that I really don't have much of a take on because I've never played this, but it is a game that gets a little bit of love. Let me throw trailer in as part of the description. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just grab a rando trailer for this. This might not be the trailer that I really want to have for it, but hopefully it'll work. Let me grab this trailer. And, of course, I need to open up 4K video downloader. Do not fail me. Do not fail me here, 4K video downloader. And it's had a habit of failing me recently. 4K video downloader has been causing me some issues. It's almost like a 50-50 shot on whether or not it's going to actually get this video or not. And if it doesn't get the video, we can always bounce over to the Steam page and just do it like that. Still waiting for it to parse the video. So while I do that, I can head back over to chat. So T-Dub says, this reminds me very much of when SSX was first released, and I believe he is talking about Rush. Yeah, you know, it actually does kind of have an SSX sort of a vibe. Absolutely. Paradise Decay says, Anthony, I have a fear of heights, but after 6 months with the Rift, it doesn't seem to bother me anymore. In fact, in Rush, I love that free-falling kind of a feeling. And MainFan says, Rush is a shoulder workout with standard controls, and MainFan does not have any fear of heights. Okay, you know what? I grabbed this trailer, but guess what? It is a 720p trailer. Of course it would be. Of course it would be a 720p trailer, which means I will have to resize it, but that's not that horrible. I'm going to go ahead and throw it on the scene, and we will resize it very quickly like this. Okay, so this trailer, this is SACRALITH, the Archer's Tale. SACRALITH, the Archer's Tale. This arrived on May 17th. The developer for this game, I actually have to look it up. I think it is Odd Meter. I think the developer name is Odd Meter. But this is SACRALITH, and this enters the program here for possible game of the month for May 17th. And a lot of bow action. Of course, you are the archer. It is the Archer's Tale, so it's all set around bow mechanics and kind of being in a Skyrim-like world. It does look like it has some kind of slowdown capabilities. SACRALITH, the Archer's Tale. And we can go ahead and bounce over to the Steam page for this and check that out. Let me look that up. SACRALITH. Okay, so SACRALITH, the Archer's Tale. Yeah, the developer is Odd Meter. This did arrive on May 17th. It is very positive. 20 bucks. I have never played this. So Paradise, you got your work cut out for you. You got to get another code for this one as well. Paradise is kind of like my agent, you know, he's going to help me get all the codes. So this is SACRALITH. We can take a look at some of these pictures of it. Has anybody in chat played SACRALITH? What do you think? Main Fan has played it. He says not game of the month, but not bad. What is up with this guy's head right here? Doesn't his head look like pretty elongated there? Kind of an alien head a little bit. You know, graphically it looks pretty good. Kind of a weird face on this dude. Odd Meter, I think, are they like a Polish developer or like Eastern European or maybe Russian or something like that? But looks kind of cool. But I've never played it, but I've heard some good things from people here and there, so it doesn't appear to be too bad of a game. So it's probably worth being mentioned as one of the possible games of the month for May. But you know what? I think what we're going to go ahead and do, guys, is we'll go ahead and stop it here from a standpoint of covering the games of the month of May. So far, what have we covered? We covered Beat Saber, which arrived on May 1st. We covered Rush by the Binary Mill, which hit the Oculus Store on May 10th. We covered Compound, the retro indie-styled game from Bevan McKechnie, which arrived on May 15th. And we have also covered SACRALITH, the Archer's Tale, which arrived on May 17th. And you know what? We have 4 more games in the month of May to talk about, but we'll go ahead and talk about that on tomorrow's show. So what we can do now is we can go ahead and hit some of the websites up, maybe hit up some of the subreddits and see what is popping off. I actually have no freaking idea what really is popping off at this time. We can also check out our chat here, and 10sec says, not game of the month, that's sacrilegious for SACRALITH, the Archer's Tale. And Jay Pay says, my 5-year-old son punched me right in the SACRALITH a few weeks ago, and my twig and berries are still ringing. And Main Fan says it's non-stop arrows. Paradise Decay says, I have played it, SACRALITH. Well, Paradise has played pretty much everything. He is not keen on it. Doesn't think it's all that great, but maybe it's worth a mention. You know, maybe it's kind of worth a mention in the month of May. Maybe not, but we've mentioned it anyway, and we got 4 more games that we'll get into tomorrow. But why don't we go ahead and bounce back over here, and we can check out some of ye old websites. Let's see, where do I have? Well, we've got Road to VR. Let's go ahead and refresh this and see what Road to VR is talking about here. And yeah, the biggest story, of course, is this flagship GPU, the Titan RTX. It does have a virtual link connector, so it kind of is meant for regular consumers, right? No, not exactly. Again, this is 2500 and it's meant for people that are running the world. It's meant for AI. It's not meant for us. It's meant for deep learning, real-time ray tracing. It's got so many ray gigaflops and ray gigabits and giga this and giga that. But they say right here, it benefits the workflow of AI researchers, deep learning devs, data scientists, and game and video professionals. It's not really designed for those of us that are just playing in death every 20 minutes. It's not really designed for that. Now, it does have some bonuses over these other processors. It offers 4 high-speed HBR3 DisplayPort lanes, USB 3.1 data channel for onboard cameras, up to 27, blah, 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 whatever. I don't know. There's a lot of details here. Yeah, we can look at all the cores and stuff. It does have a few more cores, giga cores, RT cores, giga rays, you know, all of this crazy shit. 24 gigs of high-speed DDR6 memory with 672 gigs of bandwidth per second, 2 times the memory of previous generation Titan GPUs. You're going to need a big-ass case probably for this. I bet you this is a big baby boy, this Titan RTX. But, you know, there are some of us out there that if we know What is this? Look at this. This is kind of crazy. They have some weird stuff that ends up on Road to VR in terms of their advertisements, like giant t-shirts that have a big picture of a Doberman Pinscher right on the front, or a Rottweiler. Or you could like try to jump into SACRALITH, the Archer's Tale yourself, with a very nice plush velour costume there to be one of the Knights of the Round Table. VR Round Table, that is. Yeah, Steve Bishop should order that. He can wear it on the next episode. But that is the #1 story of the day, the flagship Titan RTX. And not much else. Not much else is popping off over here on Road to VR. Let's see, I don't have Upload VR loaded up, so I will just go ahead and do this like this, the old-fashioned way, using my actual hands. And Upload VR. Let's go ahead and bounce over to there. And I'm going to go ahead and do a quick refresh right here. So they have a breakdown called the 25 Best HTC Vive Games, Day 1. So yeah, a lot of websites like to do this. They like to take you slowly but surely through the best games that are available on this platform or that platform. And the idea is to get you to click as much as possible. Of course, you guys are smarter than that. You know that you can just go to VR Game Rankings and you can check out the top 200 if you want to HTC Vive games, and you don't have to click through a damn thing. It is set up as kind of a reference point. So if you have a buddy that just bought an HTC Vive, they want to know what the best games are, you don't need to come here. I mean, I'm a fan of Upload VR, and I'm not going to throw too much shade on them. I use them pretty much every day in my show. But there's better ways to find the best HTC Vive games. We could go ahead and see what they're doing here. I'm sure they're starting with number 25 and number 24 and number 23. You know, they're going to go through a number of days on this. They're going to try to really work it. And so, yeah, number 25, Redout. Really? Redout is in their top 25. That's interesting. Okay, Job Simulator. I could see that. Creed, yeah, I could see Creed. Transpose, wow. They're throwing Transpose in their top 25. I'm a fan of Transpose, but I don't think I'd pop it into the top 25 of all HTC Vive games. I think it has to maybe work its way into the top 25. Apex Construct, I'm a fan. Again, don't know that I would throw that into my top 25. So that's what they did. So they're going to give you 5 a day, and they're slowly but surely going to work their way through the top 25. Okay, let me scroll back down here in chat and see what some people are talking about in chat. So Paradise says, my SACRALITH review quote, the game is action-packed, but if you are not into horde-type games, you might get a little bored of the constant combat. And that's one thing MainFan was talking about, arrows all day long. Prince Alexander says, Anthony, sell your 1080 Ti and get the new Titan. I know you want it. I know you want to. No, I'm good. I'm good for that. It's all gravy. And JPay says, and I love Anthony's unofficial Fallout 4 sweater. Just needs an, oh yeah, this is kind of Fallout 4. Don't you like it? Or it's kind of like Michigan, you know. Why does Rice play Texas? Why does Rice play Texas? And why does Michigan play Ohio State? I'm rooting for Michigan today. Or maybe Chicago Bears kind of go with this color scheme. But yeah, no, I like this. There's one, I have one daily vlog live where I'm like this or something like that, and I'm showing off the nice yellow here. Kind of like it. And MainFan says, upload is wrong as hell. MainFan said that. I did not. So that is all MainFan all day long. And, you know, looking for some other news of any real significance, and I'm not finding it. Okay, so why don't we do this? We can go to the Oculus subreddit, see what's going on here. I will go ahead and switch to the old man version. I like the old man version. I think it's just easier to see stuff and understand things. Nvidia reveals Titan RTX. Yes, we've heard about that. Virtual reality first-person Super Mario 64. Have you guys checked this out? Because I actually did check this out. I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And what I'll do is okay, the video's muted here. It might run. Okay, so yeah, this apparently is in Dolphin. And the Dolphin emulator. So you can kind of get in there and do like a first-person Mario with the Dolphin emulator. Now, when I was trying the Dolphin emulator, I don't believe they had they had this running at that time, way back when I tried the Dolphin emulator. Like when I was doing the Dolphin emulator, I remember I was screwing around with Metroid Prime and maybe like Mario Kart 64 or something, you know, a couple of those games, but I did not screw around with Super Mario 64. Now I know MameFan tries all this type of shit, so MameFan, why don't you go ahead and give us a report? Is this worth our time? Should we try to get Dolphin up and running again to try this out? It seems like it would be cool if it actually worked, but I just don't know if it's cool. So I'm going to go ahead and back out of that. Apex Construct does have a new patch that is now live. It improves free locomotion, teleporting, and maybe it also improves typing on the keyboard, because that was probably one of the things that really pissed people off about Apex Construct, is they really got pissed off when you had to like type things into the keyboard because your like finger hitting the right letter was a real issue. So scrolling down here, checking out a little bit of what else is going on here, and not a whole bunch is popping off here in the Oculus subreddit. Let's go ahead and check out the Vive subreddit. I don't have it already set up, but I'll just type in Vive right here like that. And now we are in the Vive subreddit. And again, you know, the Titan RTX, it is the #1 story of the day. And there are a lot of people out there that if they don't have, and look at, here's this thing again, we're seeing it. Why am I seeing this? I must have done a bunch of searches for like, I don't know what. Why am I seeing this? Because I keep seeing this. I saw it on Road to VR, now I'm seeing it on Reddit. I think it's revealing something about me being a fan of Knights of the, maybe the Roundtable, maybe because I'm in VR Roundtable and I might have like done a search for Roundtable or something. I'm getting these. I don't know what's going on. But, oh, here's an interesting story, actually. Here's an interesting take. This is by Monty at Work. He's saying, is anyone else bummed that nothing has really become of the blue, irrational exuberance, or the built-in tutorial setup? And the one thing I will say is irrational exuberance. Like, I thought irrational exuberance was absolutely awesome. One of the best VR experiences I've ever had. In fact, if you go to vrgamerankings.com, I'm going to switch back to our normal setup right here. Let me see. While I have it on my normal setup, I'm going to bring up vrgamerankings.com, because you know what? We did have a breakdown of experiences. And I believe that irrational exuberance ranked really high in my breakdown of experiences. And I want to pop that on the screen so you guys will see what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to go to Oculus Rift, top 50 free Rift game and experiences. This is actually a very popular list that people check out on vrgamerankings.com. So let's switch over here. Here it is. This is the top 50 free Rift games and experiences. You know, Robo Recall, Google Earth, First Contact, Robot Repair. I mean, these are the elites, the absolutely elites. If you just got yourself an Oculus Rift and you don't want to spend a freaking penny, but you want to have some incredible experiences, this is stuff that you can do. Now, I haven't updated this in a fortnight. Let me tell you, there is a lot of crap that needs to be added to this, and maybe the ranking needs to change a little bit. But anyway, if you scroll down here a little bit, you'll see like Oculus Dream Deck was a really cool experience. Vortex in the Lab, Henry, Longbow. These are games and experiences. They're kind of mixed in. Anything that is free. And you keep scrolling down a little bit. Lost, The Cubicle, so underrated. Oh my God, have you guys played The Cubicle? Crazy underrated. Mayubi, Allumette, Altspace VR, but you see right here, ranked at number 22 by Buffalo Vision, Irrational Exuberance. And this was supposed to be, there was supposed to be more of these. This was like a prologue or a preview, and there were supposed to be a more that was going to come from Irrational Exuberance, but we haven't gotten anything else. Buffalo Vision, it is free. One of the coolest experiences I've ever experienced, because I remember when I was first into it, I don't want to I don't want to spoil it for those of you that have never tried it, but you're like in this cave. It's almost like you're in this cave and there's these little things that are floating around and you're using your controllers and you can hit these little things and it breaks them up into little pieces. And then you start hitting like part of the wall and it starts breaking off. And then I don't want to spoil it from that point, but it is one of the coolest experiences I've ever had in VR. And I don't know what happened to this. I don't know why we don't have more of it. Irrational exuberance, really quite cool. This is our little page here. I rated it a 90. Like, it is freaking sweet. Buffalo Vision Games. And I'm saying I'll never forget the first time I tried to play through this. I say try because I actually noped out of the play session at one point, and that is the God's honest truth. I actually quit out of irrational exuberance. It freaked me the hell out when something happened. I was not ready for it, and I was like, no, I can't deal with this. I flipped my headset off. This was in the very, very, very early days of VR irrational exuberance. But back over here, I want to go back to that Vive subreddit that I was on here. Oops, not this one. Oh, no, that is the Vive subreddit. But let's just go ahead and click on this. But yeah, that was one of the questions this guy had. Is anyone else bummed that nothing became of the Blue, irrational exuberance, or the built-in tutorial setup? And let's just see what some of these people are commenting on in regards to this. He says, I know that the Blue updated some visuals at some point, but I figured that company would keep making 3D environments to put people through. Irrational exuberance was something I thought for sure would become huge. It toured a bunch and was often cited here as being a go-to for demos, and I definitely put dozens and dozens through it over the years. He's acting like VR's been available for like 5 years. It's only been a couple of years. I didn't expect a game to come from it, but I figured we'd get some alien worlds or space stations or watch a planet explode or something. And then he says, finally, I know Valve basically updated zero software other than SteamVR since launch, but I remember thinking we'd get several themed tutorials from them, or that it would get a workshop support and we'd have some crazy stuff by now. You know what, going back to that, the very first thing that you get into in the HTC Vive when you're setting up SteamVR for the very first time, I will never forget it. It was my first experience ever in VR, period. When you first get in there and you know those tables and stuff are like zzz, 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 and like tables are moving, you're inside this gigantic ass warehouse, and then you start blowing balloons with your controllers and you can like hit the balloons and stuff. You guys know what I'm talking about, like the SteamVR tutorial. That was absolutely magical. One of the coolest experiences I've ever had in VR, and it's just the SteamVR tutorial. But yeah, they've never really done anything with that. And the number one response to this is, the lab was the coolest thing I've ever seen 2 years ago. Such a tragedy it never continued. 99 points on that. And, you know, people are talking about some other stuff that they've tried and all of that sort of thing. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much going to go ahead and do it for this particular episode of VR365 Live. Once again, if you like this show at all, and how could you not like this show? We covered a lot of cool stuff today. We talked about Rolling Line for a little while. We talked about some of the best games of May 2018, and we even covered a handful of news stories and some stuff like that. We talked about Irrational Exuberance. How awesome is that? Buffalo Vision, developer of that game, we mentioned them on today's show. What were the chances that that would happen yesterday? Like 0.000000000.1 maybe. But we've covered some good things, so go ahead and like this episode or dislike it, and go ahead and subscribe to the episode as well. You know, I should have my little, shouldn't I have my little logo on the screen when I'm doing this? Yeah, I should do that. But yeah, go ahead and like the show. Oh man, my logo's messed up because of that 720p video. I blame it on SACRALITH. I blame it on Odd Meter. But there's my logo, guys, and that basically says that we're done with another show. We made it through, and we lived to see another day. Now, a little bit of show notes. Tomorrow, I'm planning on having a show at 11 a.m. the normal time. But one thing I got to mention is, in my living room and my family room, which is not too far that way, my popcorn ceilings, which is like this acoustical ceiling stuff, it is going to be removed. And I'm not sure what kind of machinery or what kind of noise that is going to cause. So there's a possibility that I will get in here tomorrow and I will try to maybe do a show, but there will be so much freaking noise and chaos that'll be going on just a couple of feet away in these other rooms that I might have to cancel the show. I don't know. I just don't know. So I'm going to have to see what happens. I'm going to try to do a show. It might be a situation kind of like Job, where I hear the noise, but you guys don't really hear the noise. So we'll kind of play it by ear. So I'm hoping to have a show tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time, but stay tuned. You can always check my Twitter feed. I don't tweet very often. Usually when I tweet, it's because either a show is being canceled or it's being postponed for a period of time. So you can follow me on Twitter at VR Game Rankings. And basically that will pretty much do it. But yeah, hoping to have a show. And then on Wednesday, talk about a double dipper, because we're still going to have all these guys working on these 2 rooms, but I'm also going to have Job in the backyard mowing the lawn and using the blower machine and all of that as well. So it is going to be a cornucopia of outside noises. Will we be able to do a show? Or maybe I'll have to have a nighttime show for the night owls, maybe 8 p.m. Pacific time when they're all gone. I could probably do that as well. And then maybe some West Coast peeps, maybe some Hawaii peeps, maybe some Australian peeps, or I don't know, whoever's around at 8 p.m. Pacific, maybe those guys could jump into the show. So that's a possibility as well. So we'll just have to see what happens tomorrow. Alrighty, folks, I'm out of here. I'm hungry. It's lunchtime. I got to get the hell out of here. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy. Later.